Who are you? That's not just a question, it's a challenge. It's a mirror held up to your soul, asking if you really know the person staring back at you. You see, life isn't waiting for you to figure it out. It's moving fast, throwing punches, testing your limits, and trying to convince you to settle for less than you deserve. Identity is power. Your identity is the foundation of everything you do. It's the compass guiding your decisions, the engine driving your actions, and the shield protecting you from the storms of life. Yet so many people walk through life with no clear sense of who they are. They let the world define them through labels, opinions, and expectations. And here's the thing, when you don't define yourself, someone else will. Think about it. When you know who you are, you don't just react to life, you shape it. Challenges come, but they don't shake you because your identity isn't built on things that can be taken away. It's not about your job, your status, or your bank account. It's deeper than that. It's about your values, your principles, and the vision you have for yourself. When you wake up in the morning, who do you see in the mirror? Do you see someone strong, capable, and ready to face the day? Or do you see someone who's letting fear and doubt run the show? The truth is, every action you take is a reflection of how you see yourself. If you believe you're a failure, you'll act like one. If you believe you're a leader, you'll step into that role without hesitation. Identity isn't fixed, it's something you build and reinforce every day. It's like a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it becomes. But if you don't put in the work, it weakens, leaving you vulnerable to negativity, doubt, and the pressures of the world. Knowing who you are isn't just about confidence, it's about clarity. It's about understanding your purpose and standing firm in it, no matter what comes your way. So ask yourself, what's the story you're telling yourself about who you are? Is it empowering you, or is it holding you back? Negative feelings often stem from an identity that's out of alignment with who you truly are meant to be. You can control your inner voice. The most powerful conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. That inner voice, that constant chatter in your mind, can either be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. It has the power to shape your reality because what you believe internally becomes what you experience externally. The problem is, for too many people, their inner voice is their harshest critic. It's the voice that whispers doubt, amplifies fear, and holds on to every failure like a badge of dishonor. Where does this voice come from? It's built over time through experiences, mistakes, and the words of others. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough, smart enough, or strong enough. Maybe you failed at something. And instead of seeing it as a lesson, you let it turn into a narrative of inadequacy. Whatever the reason, that voice took root. And now it speaks louder than the truth of your potential. The thing is, the mind is like fertile soil. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you constantly feed it with negativity, thoughts of failure, inadequacy, and fear, that's exactly what will take over. Those seeds of doubt will grow into a forest that blocks your vision and chokes out your progress. But the beauty of the mind is that you can choose what to plant. You can uproot the weeds of negativity and start planting seeds of positivity, strength, and self-belief. This doesn't happen automatically. Controlling your inner voice takes work. It starts with awareness, catching yourself in the act of negative self-talk. How often do you tell yourself, I can't do this or I'll never be good enough? Those phrases might feel small, but they carry weight. Every time you repeat them, you're reinforcing a belief system that limits you. To take control, you have to challenge those thoughts. Ask yourself, is this really true? Or is this just a story I've been telling myself? Then replace those negative phrases with affirmations of strength and possibility. Speak to yourself the way you speak to someone you love, someone you want to lift up, not tear down. This isn't just about talking nicely to yourself, it's about rewiring your brain. The more you choose empowering thoughts, the stronger those neural pathways become. Over time, that inner voice will begin to shift. It won't happen overnight, and there will be moments when negativity tries to creep back in. But with practice, you'll learn to catch it before it takes hold, to silence the critic and amplify the cheerleader within. And here's the thing, your inner voice doesn't just affect your emotions, it affects your actions. When you believe you're capable, you act like it. You take risks, you push forward, and you keep going even when things get tough. But when that voice is filled with negativity, it paralyzes you. It makes you second guess yourself, hold back, and settle for less than you deserve. Your why is your weapon. Life will test you. And when it does, your why is what keeps you in the fight. It's the fuel in your tank when you feel like you're running on empty. It's the anchor that holds you steady in the middle of the storm. But here's the truth, most people don't know their why. They wake up, go through the motions, and wonder why they feel unmotivated, lost, or stuck. It's because they haven't identified the deeper reason behind what they're doing. Your why isn't about superficial things like money, recognition, or status. Those things can only push you so far, and when challenges come, and they always do, they won't hold up. Your why has to be bigger than that. It has to be rooted in something deeply personal, something that lights a fire in your soul. It's the thing that makes you get up when you've been knocked down, that keeps you moving forward, even when every part of you wants to quit. Think about the moments when you felt the most alive, the most driven, the most unstoppable. Chances are, those were the times when you were connected to a purpose that mattered to you. Maybe it was proving to yourself that you could achieve something others said you couldn't. Maybe it was providing a better life for your family. Maybe it was making an impact on the world that goes beyond yourself. Whatever it is, that's your why, and it's the most powerful tool you have for overcoming negativity and adversity. Negative feelings thrive in the absence of purpose. When you don't have a strong why, it's easy to get overwhelmed by fear, doubt, and frustration. But when your why is clear, it acts like a lens, helping you see through the fog of negativity and focus on what really matters. It gives you direction and a sense of urgency. You stop dwelling on the obstacles because your eyes are locked on the goal. Your why also gives you resilience. When life gets hard and your why becomes the reason you keep going. It reminds you that the struggle is temporary, but the mission is eternal. It helps you shift your perspective, seeing challenges not as barriers, but as stepping stones. Your why doesn't erase the difficulty, it gives you the strength to face it head on. But finding your why isn't always easy. It requires you to dig deep, to ask yourself tough questions. Why do you want what you want? What impact do you want to leave on the world? Who are you doing this for? The answers to those questions are what will sustain you when negativity tries to pull you under. Your why has to be so strong, so personal, that no setback, no criticism, no failure can shake it. And once you find your why, it's not enough to keep it in your head, you have to live it. Every action, every decision, every choice you make should be aligned with that purpose. It becomes your compass, your North Star, guiding you through the chaos and uncertainty of life. The stronger your connection to your why, the more unstoppable you become. Emotion follows action. Too often, we let our emotions dictate our actions. We wait to feel motivated before we start working toward our goals. We wait to feel confident before we take that first step. But here's the reality: if you wait for the perfect emotion, you'll be waiting forever. Emotions are unpredictable, fleeting, and influenced by 100 things outside your control. That's why the key to overcoming negative feelings is to act first, no matter how you feel, because emotion follows action, not the other way around. Think about the times you felt stuck. Maybe you didn't feel like going to the gym, so you skipped it. Maybe you didn't feel like tackling that project, so you procrastinated. And what happened? That lack of action fed the negative feelings. Skipping the gym made you feel guilty. Procrastinating made you feel more stressed. It's a vicious cycle, but the way out is simple: act anyway. Action creates momentum, and momentum changes everything. Even the smallest step forward can shift your perspective and start to dissolve those negative feelings. When you take action, you send a signal to your brain: I'm in control. That's powerful. It interrupts the spiral of doubt, fear, and negativity and replaces it with progress, no matter how small. You don't have to wait until you feel motivated to start. The act of starting often creates the motivation you're looking for. Imagine standing in a cold pool. The thought of jumping in is uncomfortable, even painful. But once you take the plunge, your body adjusts. It's the same with action. The hardest part is getting started, but once you're in motion, things begin to feel easier. Taking action also builds confidence. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you earn through consistent action. Every time you push through negative feelings and take a step forward, you prove to yourself that you're capable. Those small victories add up, creating a foundation of self-belief that makes it easier to act again and again. It's important to understand that action doesn't have to be huge. Sometimes when you're overwhelmed by negativity, the idea of tackling everything at once feels impossible. That's okay. Start small. Break it down into tiny steps. Can't write the whole report. Write one sentence. Can't do an hour at the gym. Do 10 minutes. The size of the action doesn't matter. What matters is that you're moving forward. Action also helps to shift your focus. When you're stuck in negative feelings, your mind tends to fixate on what's wrong, what's not working, what you're afraid of, what might go wrong. But when you start taking action, your focus shifts to the task at hand. You stop dwelling on the negativity because your brain is too busy solving problems and making progress. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it. The act of showing up, of taking that first step, is what starts to change how you feel. The more you do it, the more you realize that you're not at the mercy of your emotions, you're in charge. Negative feelings don't have to dictate your actions. Your actions can change how you feel. Adversity shapes character. Adversity isn't something you can escape. It's a part of life, and it doesn't care who you are, where you come from, or what you've achieved. At some point, life will throw you a curveball: failure, rejection, disappointment, loss. But here's the thing: adversity doesn't exist to break you. It exists to build you. It's in the face of difficulty that your true character is revealed. And even more importantly, is where your character is forged. Think about the people you admire most. Are they the ones who had everything handed to them? No, they're the ones who faced challenges, stumbled, got back up, and kept going. Adversity is the process through which greatness is born. It tests your limits, yes, but it also expands them. Every time you push through a tough situation, you're not just surviving, you're growing. Adversity has a way of exposing the gaps in your character. It brings out your weaknesses, your fears, your insecurities, and while that might feel uncomfortable, it's actually a gift, because once you see those gaps, you can work on them. You can strengthen the parts of yourself that need it most. Without adversity, you'd never know what you're truly capable of. Facing adversity also teaches resilience. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop by going through hard times and coming out stronger on the other side. It's like building a muscle. The more you face resistance, the stronger you become. But here's the key: it's not just about enduring adversity, it's about learning from it. Every challenge carries a lesson, and if you're willing to look for it, that lesson can be the key to your next level of growth. Adversity forces you to dig deeper than you ever thought possible. When everything is easy, it's tempting to stay comfortable, to coast along without pushing yourself. But when life gets hard, you're forced to tap into reserves of strength, courage, and determination that you didn't even know you had. It's in those moments of struggle that you discover what you're truly made of. It's also important to understand that adversity doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. You always have a choice. You can let the hardship defeat you, or you can let it fuel you. You can see it as a reason to give up, or you can see it as an opportunity to grow. The choice is yours, and it's in that choice that your character is formed. Adversity also teaches you to appreciate the journey. When you've had to fight for something, it means more to you. The victories taste sweeter because you know what it took to get there. The struggles become part of your story, a testament to your perseverance and strength. They remind you that you're not defined by your failures, you're defined by how you rise from them. And here's the thing: adversity is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. It's not about pretending that hard times don't hurt, they do. But it's about refusing to let that pain be the end of your story. It's about using that pain as fuel to propel you forward, to create a version of yourself that's stronger, wiser, and more capable than ever before. Commit to growth. Growth isn't a one-time decision, it's a lifelong commitment. It's about showing up every single day, ready to become a better version of yourself. But here's the thing: growth isn't easy. It's uncomfortable. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone, face your fears, and challenge the beliefs and habits that have held you back. Growth demands work, persistence, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. Too often, people settle for what's familiar because it feels safe. They let fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of change keep them stuck. But staying the same isn't safe. It's a slow decline into mediocrity. Growth is the only way to break free from that trap. To create the life you want instead of accepting the life you've been given. Committing to growth means taking responsibility for where you are right now. It's about looking in the mirror and owning your choices, your habits, and your mindset. It's not about blaming others or making excuses. It's about understanding that you have the power to change no matter where you're starting from. That's not easy to do. It's much easier to point fingers and say, it's not my fault. But when you take responsibility, you take back your power. Growth also requires humility. It's about admitting that you don't have all the answers, that you're not perfect, and that there's always room for improvement. It's about being open to feedback, even when it's hard to hear. It's about seeking out mentors, learning from others, and constantly striving to expand your knowledge and skills. Growth isn't about proving that you're better than someone else. It's about proving to yourself that you're better than you were yesterday. The path to growth is rarely linear. There will be setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. But those are the moments that matter most because they test your commitment. Are you willing to keep going when it's hard? Are you willing to learn from your mistakes instead of letting them define you? True growth comes from resilience, from the determination to keep moving forward, even when progress feels slow. Committing to growth also means letting go of what no longer serves you. That might be old habits, toxic relationships, or limiting beliefs. Growth often requires sacrifice, and it can be painful to leave behind what's familiar. But you can't step into a new chapter of your life if you're still holding on to the last one. Letting go creates space for new opportunities, new experiences, and new levels of success. Growth isn't just about achieving goals, it's about becoming the kind of person who can achieve them. It's about building discipline, developing a strong work ethic, and cultivating a mindset that thrives in the face of challenges. When you commit to growth, you're not just working toward a destination, you're transforming yourself in the process. And let's be clear, growth isn't always glamorous. It's not about flashy achievements or instant gratification. It's about the small, consistent actions you take every day. It's about waking up early to work on your dreams, even when you're tired. It's about making the hard choices, it's the sacrifices and the investments in yourself that pay off over time. Growth is a grind, but it's the most rewarding grind there is. Finally, committing to growth means understanding that it's a journey without a finish line. There's always another level to reach, another skill to master, another challenge to overcome. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about becoming a lifelong learner, someone who's always curious, always hungry, and always striving to be better.